Another workshop
Sorry.
for another day.
I gotta hit that. That's actually next week. Next Wednesday.
Is it next
Mindset.
Thursday or is that fitness?
Nope, we did fitness last because we all know the mindset is such a big piece. So we said, you know what, we're going to do mindset week 2.
Hmm. Hmm.
So rocking and rolling. I love it. Yeah, mindset is everything. So awesome. Uh, yeah, that's awesome, Audrey. I love it. I love seeing you guys already have success, and some of you guys literally just get started. And we're gonna get into topic today since it's nutrition, of course. We are going to open it up in just a little bit too to drop questions as they're coming in, so that we can address. But I know Aaron and I were speaking prior, and as coaches as well too. Um, I think something that I want to kind of start on, if you're okay with this, Aaron, and then we'll get into the topics that I know we wanted to talk about. I know some of our people that we had asked for feedback, what are your biggest struggles, so we can address them on today's. We're going to get to all of those things. But I think one thing that I always love to start a nutrition training with is the top mistakes that we as coaches see out in the world of nutrition. Because I think it's incredibly important. And before you can fix the mistakes, you got to kind of know what they are first, right? And so one of my biggest things I'd love to just start with and just hit on, because the topics that we're going to talk about today are going to help you not make the mistakes that we're going to share, right? And so yeah, mindset is huge. I love seeing y'all's comments. And so I would say, and Aaron, you can agree with me. Pretty sure we're on that same page, but I have four actually mistakes that I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on them, but I just want to highlight them, and then we're going to go to our topics, because the top mistakes I see in nutrition is so many people not eating enough, period. We have the most amazing products, hands down. I truly believe it through and through. Some of you are just getting started on the product journey. Some of you are just working on the nutrition side, and you haven't added products, and that's totally fine too. And some of you have been on products for a long time. But one big common mistake that we do see a lot of people making with the nutrition aspect of life is you're not eating enough calories, period, which we're going to talk a little bit about that today and go into some clarity on that. The second is not enough protein.
Hmm.
Protein, which we're going to talk about how in the world you're going to get it, all these things today. The third mistake that I see so much is the first thing I always hear, and Aaron, I think you hear this too, is like, oh, I'm going to cut out all my carbs. I'm trying to drop some weight. Carbs, gone, X amount, y'all. And I'm here to tell you that your carbs are not the devil. We actually need them in your nutrition. It's a very important macronutrient that we all need to feel better, to function better, to build muscle, and to also actually get weight to go away, but most importantly, stay away. And then the other one is just dieting for too long. You can be at a calorie deficit and see results and do great. But if you stay in it for way too long, you actually start to stress your body out, and then your metabolism tanks. And then it just starts to go into the reverse, which is absolutely not what we want to do. So, I just felt called to share those, Aaron. I don't know if you want to piggyback on any of those, or if you have any thoughts on the mistakes of not enough. I think that's probably the number one that I
Yeah.
see on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, not enough. I mean, not enough calories in a day. And I think the number one, I see another number one issue a lot of people have and struggle is they don't consume breakfast. How many of you guys skip breakfast? Raise your hand if you skip breakfast, or you've been known to, like, ah man, I'm so busy in the morning that I'm just gonna drink a shake for breakfast, right? I'm gonna skip it. I'm gonna drink a shake for breakfast, or I'm gonna have what I like to call snacks for meals. Where I'm seeing it too. Even during this challenge, I'm seeing a lot of people posting snacks as meals, and that can be a problem as well too, because when you do that, you're still limiting the amount of caloric intake you're taking on a daily basis. And so what ends up happening is you end up moving into lunch. You have a little bit of a bigger lunch, and then dinner, you might not be so hungry. You're like, I can't eat so much for dinner. And then you're under 1,000 calories for the day because you skipped one meal. And you guys, there's an old saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's actually a lie. I know for me, breakfast might be one of my favorite meals of the day, but it's not the most important meal of the day. Every meal is equal as the last meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner should be all equal, the same amount. You should approach it the same way. When you skip a meal, what ends up happening is you're going to most likely go under your caloric intake for the day. And if you're working out and you're doing all the things right, and then you're like, man, I'm working out and I'm eating clean, I'm eating healthy, but you're still under eating, that if your goal is to lose weight, that scale is going to do this, or sometimes it does this. and it gets frustrating, it gets discouraging because you want to fuel your body. We want you guys to look at food in a different perspective. We don't want you to look at it like, oh man, I got to eat all this food. No, we want you to look at it like food is basically your signs for where you want to go in this in your goals, like meaning like it's giving you direction. If you want to build muscle, protein. If you want to have more energy, carbs. If you want to take care of your insides, fats, the healthy fats. And that's what we're going to go over today, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. But we definitely want to touch base on this. So one of the things we're going to jump right into is macros. Like, how many of you guys understand macros or struggle with macros? Like, if you're confused with macros, raise your hand in the comments. Raise your hand or drop it in the comment section below if you struggle understanding macros, because we're going to jump right into I do not understand macros. Perfect. That's why we're doing this workshop, because we hear it all the time. Like, what is I even had somebody say to me, what is macros? And I'm like, this is what you eat on a daily basis. But once again, it's because we don't know what it is that we end up assuming something different. Yes, macros, question mark. I love it. So, Angela, I'm going to swing it your way because I know this is your jam. And I know me and you could go back and forth on this all day long. We could do like hours of this workshop. But we're going to keep it short and sweet for you guys. But we're going to get right to the point on what are macros and understanding macros to benefit your body.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, there was still more people coming in, so I'm hitting approve. uh, yes, so the confusion of macros is real. And I know one of my biggest passions, macros, macros question mark. I'm gonna explain exactly what that is. And it's overcomplicated in today's world. And one of my biggest passions is I love macros. Macronutrients is what makes up your calories. Because I know a lot of us have been in the space of like, oh, I'm going to count my calories, I'm going to count my calories, I'm going to count my calories. And where that works to an extent, I love to make sure that you guys know that not all calories are created equal. And so the buzz in today's world is like the magic 1,200 calories or less diet to go lose some weight. And I'm telling you, my 10-year-old daughter needs 1,200 calories. Like, we've got to eat more, but we got to eat more of the right things. Okay, and so that's where macronutrients come in, because you can count calories all day long, but what makes up your calories is what your macronutrients are. Okay, so that is literally just a fancy word for protein, carbohydrates, and fats, just like Aaron already hit on those three. And they all serve a purpose. And when you have a balance of macronutrients, well, now you're feeding your metabolism. Now you're also regulating your blood sugar, whether you have blood sugar issues or not. I love to always make sure that we all need to regulate our blood sugar, because that's how our energy stabilizes. That's how we boost our metabolism. That's how we do all the things. That's how we get results, right? So when we say macronutrients, it's really what makes up your calories. Not all calories are created equal. You can be eating a 1,500 calorie diet, but it's all fat and carbs. You're not going to see results, right? You could be eating a 1,500 calorie diet, and 35 to 40% of that is protein. Okay. And then the other 25 to 30% is fat, and everything else comes from carbs. And that's where balance comes in. You start to actually see the results. So why are they so incredibly important? So let's break down protein real quick. I always love to make sure this is how I love to teach protein. When you think of the word protein, I want you to think of two words: protein. I want you to think of muscle, and I want you to think of metabolism, right? Because you can't build muscle without protein in your nutrition. And you also need carbs, but we'll get to that in just a second. But your protein is essential for you to build muscle, right? And guess what is your metabolism's best friend? It's muscle, right? And so if you're not eating enough protein, you're not going to build muscle. Therefore, you're not going to speed up your metabolism, right? And sorry if I'm geeking out on too much. trying to keep it crazy simple. So protein is essential to build the muscle. Okay. It's very important also for you to stay fuller. How many of you guys put snacking in the comments if you struggle with just snacking? Like, you're like, oh God, I'm always wanting to snack. Never full. A big piece of that can truly be one of the first fixes when I'm coaching someone with their nutrition is protein. We need protein. We need protein in every single one of our meals. Why? Because it's also going to keep you fuller longer. Okay. And it's going to help kick cravings. Again, another really big thing that I see often is the cravings are outrageous. And it's just, man, I have a hard time controlling. So if you have cravings, drop in the comments, like, what is your craving? Do you crave sweets? Do you crave sugar? Or if you're like, man, I don't have problems with cravings. Awesome. then I'd love to know your secret, right? I don't really have snacking craving issues either, except for, when hormones kick in one time a month. Ladies, y'all know what I mean. Aaron, you coach women, so it's not like you hadn't heard that a million times, right? And so, other than that, why? It's because I personally eat 150 or so grams of protein every single day, and it really makes a big difference. So, protein is huge. But do you want to piggyback on anything protein before I move on to carbs, Aaron?
I think one of the biggest things when it comes to that's funny, cats, Carly. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I'm like reading the comment section. I saw Carly said cats, and I'm like, all right, what are we eating cats now? That's crazy. I was like, wait, there got to be something wrong with that. But I was like hoping it was like an autocorrect. All right, so yeah, when it comes to protein, you guys, like I said in the beginning, like it's just directions for your body. Like you can't build muscle without consuming protein. Like it's I don't want to say you can't because that's not the best word, but it's pretty much nowadays it's getting harder and harder, and I mean, it's basically impossible to build muscle without protein. How much protein per meal? You want to shoot for a good, I would say a good range, 25 to 35 grams per meal. Like that's a good range because you got to keep in mind, you want to focus on 100 grams of protein per day, over 100, you guys. Like anything under 100, it's going to be harder for your body to build that muscle. And you got to keep in mind, like Angela just said, like what is our fat burning cylinder in our body? It is muscle. Have you ever heard that saying, muscle burns fat? Absolutely. But in order to build that muscle, you have to consume protein. Protein is your muscle building source. And if you prioritize protein when you're thinking about your meals and you prioritize your protein each meal, you're gonna hit it quickly. Yeah, and you got to keep this in mind. Like even if you're doing intermittent fasting, I'm seeing some of the comments. I'm doing IF. I'm doing. Does not matter what you're doing. You have to prioritize protein when you're doing it. That's why there's a reason why they call it breakfast. You're breaking your fast. If you never heard that before, you're probably gonna be like, oh crap, I never heard that before. That's the first time I've heard that. You're breaking that fast, regardless of what time you eat breakfast, whether it's 5 in the morning, 8 in the morning, 11 in the morning. You're breaking that fast, right? So you want to make sure you're prioritizing that protein. And here's the thing: I know some people say I'm gonna grab a bar and I'm gonna grab a protein shake. But what else? Where's your other macros at? Where's your carbs at? Where's your fats at? We're gonna go into the fats and the carbs here in a second. But you guys, I'm telling you, when you prioritize your protein, it's also another thing too. It's gonna make you feel fuller. And when you don't prioritize protein, you're consuming more carbs and more fats. It doesn't make you feel fuller, you guys. And then you end up eating more carbs and more fats. And then you're like, well, crap, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. I'm not seeing any results because your body's constantly hungry because you're consuming the wrong macro, which would be carbs and fats, as opposed to prioritizing protein, which will make you feel more full. As far as meals, here's another suggestion too, and I see this a lot where it's like, hey, what about lunch and dinner? This is why I kind of struggle with getting my protein intake. Go from 4 ounces of chicken to maybe six. And you guys, I promise you, it's not that much. Like, I know some people look at it like 6 ounces is so much. It's really not a lot. We're talking about a 2 ounce difference, but that 2 ounce difference can be anywhere between 18 grams to 25 to 30 grams of protein from a lean meat source. So it's huge. That would be an indication just to go up 2 ounces. And some of you are like, do I have to measure? Not really. You don't really have to measure unless you really want to see what's the difference. But I promise you, you go from 2 ounces to, 4 ounces to 6 ounces. It makes a massive difference in your protein intake, especially with lunch and dinner, as opposed to breakfast being much more easier to get that protein in. So, Angela, I'm swinging back your way so we can talk about carbs and fat. Yay!
Yeah, I absolutely. And one more thing that I'll piggyback on you what you said on protein and breakfast. When you jump start your day with a good amount of protein, it makes the rest of the day easier. Because and we're not here to say everybody's got to track their food and count macros, right? Like you can just shoot for something as simple. If you do nothing else, get nothing else from this call today, it's make sure that you get 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal and just start there, y'all. Like I'm a big advocate of like just start with small, and start with your protein. But something that I really want to point out, because I see this mistake a lot too, and I know some of y'all are on here that I coach personally. So I know y'all probably heard me say this many, many times, but starting your day with a good amount of protein is going to help you not be so short at the end of the day. If you're going with the flow and going, you don't have any sort of planning, which we're going to talk about in just a second, but you end up at the end of the day very short and you're like, holy crap, I need 60 more grams of protein and it's dinner time. Like, don't force all that down your throat in one meal. Call it a day. The next day is a new day. But protein for breakfast, I'm going to share my favorite combination now because it gives me about 35 grams of protein per meal. Because a common mistake that I see often is like, oh, I ate 2 eggs for breakfast. Awesome. I got all my protein in. And I just want to educate more people about 2 eggs is only 12 grams of protein. And you heard Aaron say 25 to 35. That's exactly how we coach, 25 to 35 grams per meal. So add to that. Don't be scared of a bigger breakfast. My favorite breakfast is 2, sometimes even 3 eggs, depending on how hungry I am. But then I put a fourth a cup of cottage cheese in there. And then I also put some turkey sausage crumbles in it. And it gets me right around the 30 to 35 mark of protein in my breakfast. You can make egg muffins if you don't have time to literally sit and cook every single morning. Not everybody has that luxury to cook some breakfast every single morning. So I'm getting ahead of myself because I know we're going to talk about some meal prepping stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to really like start your day and load it with protein and some carbs because that's what we're going to talk about next, right? Carbs are our friend. Our carbs are our body's preferred source of fuel. Okay. Yeah, Barbara, I'm the same with cottage cheese. I gotta admit, y'all, I was like, "Ooh, I can't do cottage cheese. And I still can't do cottage cheese by itself. But when I mix it with my eggs, it's actually really good. It makes it fluffy. Um, anyway, so carbs, let's talk about carbs. I know I think, I don't know, maybe it might be, in my personal opinion, one of the number one things that I hear often of like, okay, I'm trying to drop weight. I'm going to drop out my carbs. And that's not the answer, right? Less is not more. Less in overall calories and less in carbs is not more. It might lead to short-term results where you're going to see the scale drop a little bit. But how many of you guys have ever lost weight and regained it right back? Right? Like almost, a lot of people have. And it's because we're not incorporating these things to actually get results, right? So carbs are truly your body's preferred source of fuel. It's going to help you fuel your workouts. Okay. It's going to help you fuel your daily activities. How many of y'all walk around in brain fog on a regular basis? And sometimes we have the best products that will laser focus you, whether it's Adapt, Rush, Brew, all these things, right? They all work so well. But I'm telling you, if you're not coupling it with some nutrition, or when you start to couple it with some nutrition, make sure you're getting enough carbs. Oh my goodness. I always say holy productivity whenever I take my adapt because I'm like, man, that plus some carbs, y'all can accomplish so much in such little time, I promise. Because carbs are also your brain fuel. It's not just about what we look like on the outside. It's about how we feel. Your food is your instructions. And if you're cutting out all your carbs, you're giving your body instructions to be a little bit tired. And let's be real, life is way too short to live exhausted and tired. But on the flip side of that, too, if you're working out and you're lifting weights, I'm going to tell you, you're going to notice a difference. And if you don't eat a whole lot of carbs right now before breakfast, my next challenge to you is before your next workout, eat carbs before you go, eat carbs and protein before you go, even if it's something small. And that could be something like eggs and oatmeal is my favorite breakfast. Maybe it's eggs and you eat a banana on the way to the gym, some sort of fuel and carbs. And then note how much better you feel during your workout, how much more energy, how much heavier you can lift, all these things, right? And so carbs are also essential for you to actually build the muscle that you're working so incredibly hard. It's not just protein. Protein is the biggest piece, but you got to have carbs for fuel. Okay. And then the last one is fats. Whenever, when you think of the word carbs, think of energy. Okay. Now, when you think of fats, I want you to think of hormone support. Your healthy fats are crucial for hormone health, for heart health, for brain health, and for digestion, which I think I heard you already mention that, Erin. So your carbs are essential. And some of my favorite carbs are, it can be your oils, your olive oil, coconut oil. Those are my favorite ones to cook with. I love flaxseed and chia seed. I put flaxseed this morning on top of my oatmeal. I usually put a tablespoon of chia seed later on in a shake. Why? Because they're good omega-3 fats, but it's also fiber, which we won't go into fiber today. I don't know. We don't want to throw too many numbers at you. But anyway, so carbs and fats. So your macros are literally protein, carbs, and fats. Um, Anything you want to say or piggyback, Aaron? I'll turn that back to you.
No, it was so funny when you said I'm gonna go into the fiber aspect. Actually, we should talk about fiber real quick. Fiber, you guys, is crucial. How many of you guys have digestive issues? I know for me, I struggled with that tremendously in the past, and it's probably most likely due to lack of fiber. And we don't realize that that's something we don't consume enough of. And I will give you guys a gold number for fiber intake on a daily basis would be 30 grams of fiber. And we look at it and we're like, oh man, I don't where do I get the fiber from? Like, where am I? And like Angela just gave you guys a great suggestion. I literally put chia seeds in my shake when I make a post workout shake every time I work out. After I finish working out, I got my balance in there. I have my chia seeds in there, a tablespoon of chia seeds, greens. I have some almond butter, and I'm telling you guys right now, it's a game changer. Like you don't realize how tremendous fiber is for your digestive system. It keeps you regulated on a daily basis. I know as women, like Angela said, like I heard it all. I've been doing this 18 years, and I coach women mainly, and I hear it all the time when it comes to literally, digestive issues and being regulated and consistent, but most of the time that's due to lack of fiber intake. And when you increase that fiber intake, it's a game changer, you guys, for your digestive system. But you got to keep in mind, where's that fiber intake going to come from, right? And a lot of times it's going to come from some healthy source of carbs. It might come from a healthy source of fats. One I will give you a fruit, believe it or not, that is high in fiber that most people don't even look at, and it's a pear, right? Like how many of us think like pears? I'm gonna eat a pear, yay, pear, right? And a pear is high in fiber, you guys. And so just stuff like that, just little tricks like that, eating like a fruit like that instead of just you sticking to your strawberries and berries, which are great, or bananas, which are great, but something like a pear, something outside of the norm that you wouldn't even think of, right? Is great source of fiber. Grapefruit is great as well. There's so many different options, but chia seeds, another great source of fiber, right? I've heard raspberries are high in fiber. I would say they're more high in antioxidants than fiber, Jody. To be honest with you, any kind of berry, anything with the if you got strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, blueberry, they're all high in antioxidants, which is also good as well for your body. But yeah, pear is fantastic, you guys, and it's super low in the glycemic index, and we're not even gonna jump in that conversation. That's a whole nother conversation right there. We're gonna go into like trigonometry if we went into that conversation, but you guys can't express that enough. Fiber is so key. Any kind of whole grains, good source of fiber for your body. Anything whole grains. I've seen a couple people say overnight oats. Y'all, like overnight oats is a game changer for breakfast options. If you're busy, if you got a busy, boom, you could take some BFF, throw it in a mason jar. You can even put some Greek yogurt in there. You could put some chia seeds in there. You guys, you will hit your 30 grams, I promise you, of that fiber. You're gonna hit your protein, but you're also gonna hit some good, healthy source of carbs, which would be oats, which is fantastic. Once again, like these are kind of things that we don't really think about, but we're like, man, if I can connect all these together, it's not that hard. Thoughts on steel cut oats, Marietta? Honestly, I hate them. Me personally, I'm not a fan of them at all. They just have a nasty taste to me. And if I'm just gonna get oats, I might as well just go regular oatmeal. Honestly, at this point, there's not too much of, to me personally, and this is my personal opinion, there's not too much of a macro difference between steel oats and regular oats. As long as you're not getting the processed oats, meaning like the packets that are stacked with sugars and things like that. To me, there's not much of a difference. As far as taste, I don't like them. I really can't stand them. Honestly, they have a nasty taste, and you would end up having to put a whole bunch of stuff in it to make it sweeter and make it digestible, which just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, sorry, going off a tangent, but I just saw that question. I'm like, yeah, I can't mess with that. So I know we touched on fats and we touched on carbs. Is there a ratio of protein carbs should do at meal? Yeah, we'll touch on that here in a second. Sean, that's a great question. We're definitely going to touch on that here in a second. What else? What else? Good carbs. I know this was a question that somebody asked earlier. Good carbs. What are good carbs? Oh man, that's a that's kind of like a good question. That's a long answer kind of question. I will tell you the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs. Simple carbs are basically the bad carbs. Like those are the carbs that's gonna shoot through your bloodstream much quicker. It's gonna elevate that your blood sugar levels. Those are like your white bread, your white pasta, things like that. That's just not good for you. Any kind of processed foods that are high in carbs, high in sugars, those are simple carbs. Complex carbs are going to be your greens. You guys think anything green is a complex carb. Vegetables, any kind of vegetables, complex carb. We're talking sweet potato, complex carb. We're talking quinoa, complex carb, where it takes your body longer to break down and digest, which is what you want. That's why carbs are not bad. It just depends what kind of carbs you get. Anytime you're eating out, just to keep in mind that it's most likely going to be a simple carb, and it's not good for your body. And that's what's going to elevate your blood sugar levels, as well as going to elevate your body to most likely hold on to it and gain that weight much quicker. Sweet potatoes, great source of a good complex carb. Anything green, you guys, here's a recommendation, a rule of thumb: 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. 3 to 5 servings. If you're getting anything less than 3 servings a day, you're going wrong. And that's where you want to shift your mindset at. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm going to have a fruit or a vegetable per meal. And then for my snacks, I'll have something per meal to be able to help me increase that. Put cottage cheese on my potatoes. Love it, love it. Keep in mind, potatoes are considered a simple carb. You just got to be moderate and cautious with potatoes. It is still considered a simple carb because it will digest quickly in your body. But there's a lot of micronutrients in potatoes that's been known to be beneficial for when it comes to weight loss. You just got to make sure you're cognitive in that department of like how much should I consume as far as potatoes are concerned. Sweet potatoes are a much better option than regular potatoes, but both of them are considered good, healthy carbs in the long run. So, Angela, I'm gonna swing it back your way because I know that was a question that somebody asked. What are good carbs? And so, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and I know we're not getting into mindset today, but one thing that I do want to hit on is to erase the good bad out of your mind. Like it's a good choice, there's a better choice, and there's the best choice. Instead, and because I feel like with like, oh, good carb, bad carb, like, oh, a good cop, bad cop, right? Like it puts a negative connotation about any sort of food in our minds. And if we can erase that and get away from that, to me, it's a negative dieting culture mindset. And so, because there's going to be days where I'm going to eat some pizza, right? And that's the thing that with macronutrients, food freedom is huge. You don't want to be on I don't even like the word diet because that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like nutrition, meal plan, right? Like that's what I love so much about macros is because you can have some flexibility. You have some freedom. Don't miss out on life because I'm on this diet and that's a bad food and this is a good food, right? And so I'm going on a tangent there, but I just when y'all were saying that, I had to say that. And I'm glad that you said that too, Aaron, because I think the rule of thumb, if you're missing out on, or excuse me, if you're struggling with fiber, the easiest thing in the world to do is 3 to 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day. Think of, and my personal rule of thumb is I always think of a fruit that I put in my breakfast and both of my snacks, and I always have a greens on my plate in my lunch and in my dinner, and that covers 5 servings for me. And the fiber is there. And then if you mix in a serving of chia seed or flaxseed, I guarantee you're going to be really really close to that 30-gram mark. And so just it takes time, y'all. It takes time. Give yourself grace. It takes time. Fiber is crucial though, and if you're not going to the bathroom regularly, that is one of the first things we look at is what does your fiber look like? And it's often low. And I've actually had women where it's really high, and that can be the exact opposite too. Like there is such thing as if you do too much, well, that's going to stop you up, right? It's that happy medium. So go around the 30 mark. And here's how many are actually tracking food. Put I am tracking in the comments. I'd love to see who's actually tracking. And because I get this question a lot. I'm sure you do too, Aaron. Like, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? Um, Track your food is the really only real way to know. And I know it's not the most favorite thing in the world for a lot of people, but even if you just do it for a short term, even if you just do it during the 21 days, I can tell you what you're going to do is you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And you're going to learn a lot about food. And you're going to learn a lot of like, holy crap, I thought that was healthy. And that is so not healthy. Or you might realize, like, wow, I didn't think I could actually eat this, but I put it in and yeah, it's not so bad. Tracking food is where the awareness comes in, but it's also where you can go and you can take a peek and be like, holy crap, I am crushing my fiber this week. Give me a pat on my back, right? It's also the time where you can truly realize see what your protein is and what you're actually getting. And then you can just put things on repeat and make your life a little bit easier. But yeah, protein, carbs, fat, fiber, 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 fiber. Um,
I'm gonna
yeah,
piggyback off of the
yep,
track.
please do, because I don't know where I was going
No,
after
no,
that.
no. I love it. I love it. I'm reading. Savannah made me laugh. That's why I giggled when Savannah said, I'm trying to track, but I absolutely dislike it. Look at it from a different perspective. And I know next week we're going to mindset, but look at it like I need to know what I'm putting in my body so I know where my body is going, right? Because the worst thing you can do, and anyone who doesn't track, hopefully when you hop off of this workshop, you're gonna be like, I need to start tracking, because a lot of times the number one we hear as coaches is, I'm eating clean, I'm working out, but I'm still not seeing results. Are you tracking? Not really. But when we look at it from coaches and we're looking at our clients' plans and we're realizing you're lacking in fiber, you're lacking in protein intake, your actual carbs are too high and your fats are too low. You guys, that's why it's so imperative to track, because when you start tracking, you see what you're putting in your body. And you might be thinking I'm eating clean, but like Angela said earlier, not all calories are created equal, right? You can literally go out and eat. Like, I'm gonna use this slice of pizza because I love me some pizza, and we have pizza every Friday night. And guess what? Still seeing results. Why? Because it's a balance. Like she just said, it's freedom when you know exactly what you're doing. And Kathy, what I'll share with you, like guys, a percentage, a basic percentage I would recommend to go off of that helps. It's, and keep in mind, it's basic. It's not geared towards anyone on here. I'll share with you guys a percentage if you put in your Fitness Pal. It could definitely help. Keep in mind, like when you eat something like pizza, it's gonna be high in fat, high in carbs, and probably really low in protein, right? So there might be meals you're consuming that's super high in carbs, super high in fats, and low in protein. And in your mind, you're like, I'm eating clean, I'm eating healthy, I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But when you track, two things you're going to acknowledge. Number one, you're going to acknowledge either you're probably most likely under eating. And number two, you're also going to acknowledge how much sodium you consume, as well as how much sugars you consume, and how low your protein intake is. And I can't express this enough, you guys. Like, sodium does matter. Sugar levels do matter. And here's another rule of thumb I'll give you guys when it comes to tracking. You want to look at 25 grams of sugar per day. If you're very, very active, you could go a little bit higher than that, maybe 35, 40 grams. And this does include fruits and vegetables. Newsflash, vegetables does have sugar. And just in case you didn't know that, now you do. Like, vegetables do have sugar. So you want to make sure you keep that in the back of your head. Like, okay, I need to track this stuff because I think I might be eating healthy, but that protein bar that you think is healthy has 20 grams of sugar in it. And all of a sudden that increases your sugar levels, and it just, explodes your sugar intake, right? And that will end up, if you're not burning that sugar adequately and properly, guess what it does? It will store as fat. It doesn't store in the places we want it to store. It always stores in the area we don't want it to store. Like, why is it storing here? But this is the stuff that you can teach yourself when you're looking at tracking. You're like, dang, I thought I was doing good. And I hear it all the time. I know Angela can validate this. I hear this all the time. I think I'm doing good. And then when we look at the plans, we're like, I would increase your protein by about 50 grams. They're like, really? Really? And that's the number one thing we see. Number two thing we see is it's not enough food. And the number three thing we see is either sodium or sugar levels will be much higher than you think. And yeah, that's not including the spices. I hope everybody's seasoning their foods, right? Like, that doesn't include that, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Like, there are factors to it. So tracking is going to be your source to tell you where you're at. And that's the cool thing about it. You'll learn about more about yourself and how you eat, whether you're doing intermittent fasting, if you're doing any kind of diets. I hate the word diet. Oh my gosh, I hate the word diet with a passion. Diet means take away, and you don't want to take anything away. You want to actually give your body more. And I want you guys to drop it in the comment section, because this is something that I think every person needs to hear on this workshop today. You want to give your body more, because there's nothing wrong with food. Food actually is amazing, especially when you can eat the foods that we eat and you're just fueling your body and filling your body. I want you to throw in the comment section, I need to give my body more, because most of the time you're most likely giving your body less, and you're not eating enough, and you're not going to see the results that you want to see. But when you give your body more of the good stuff, more fruits and vegetables, more protein, more healthier carbs, more healthier fats, your body will change in the direction you want it to go, and you're going to see things that you've never seen before. I don't care how old or how young you are on this Zoom. I can guarantee you will see results when you lock down your nutrition. Nutrition is 80 to 85% of any kind of health and wellness or health and fitness goals, period. That, like, nutrition is the end all sale. It is the top. It is the very tippy top of the pyramid, and everything else starts to fall underneath it. But when you get your nutrition down, everything falls into place. So, all right, sorry, going off a tangent. Angela, swing back your way.
Yeah, I'm going through the comments on here. I love it. Um, I know they count on some level. Yeah. And so I want to go, I want to pull up the sheet, the nutrition plan. And I know I was reading the comments and someone made a really great point. And let me go back and see who it was so I can give her credit. Where was it? Where was it? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Where'd it go? Anyway, someone said it in the comments, and I really want to piggyback on what she said. This is a lot of information. And there's a lot of numbers kind of getting thrown at you. And I want you to start small and simplify. And I want to go over, I want to show you all the nutrition plan. If you have not downloaded it or you're like, holy crap, I need that, please let us know. It's in all of our Facebook groups. It's definitely in the breakthrough group. It's pinned at the very top. And so make sure that you guys have this. If you don't already have it, I can drop the link in the comments too. But this is going to give you all the things we're talking about. All of these things we're talking about, we're covering today. There's some rules up here to follow. Here's a list of protein, carbs, and fats, veggies, fruits. These are all here for you. But I want to just really hit on this to make sure you guys know this is not the only thing you can eat. This is just a list to give you ideas. This isn't about restriction. This is just giving you ideas. There's going to be things that you like that aren't on this list. Cool, eat it. If it fits, it fits, right? Freedom, 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 freedom. This is a little template that you can use to plan out your meals, which I think we're going to talk about in a minute, and doing some meal planning and prepping and stuff like that. How can we help you set yourself up for success? This is one way to do it. Just sit down and map it out. You got to slow down so you can speed up. One of my most favorite things in the world to say that I heard from a business coach. And to me, it's the same thing in your nutrition. Slow down, do a little bit of planning and prepping so that you can speed up through the week and not have to think so much and not have to stress over every single meal. Oh my God, what am I going to eat right now? I didn't, because you didn't plan, right? So this is a super simplified calculation for you to start with. We talked about fiber, we talked about fat, we talked about carbs, we talked about sugar, we talked about soda, we talked about a lot of things, right? And so this is the thing that I also see on a 20, I see, I don't know, 50% of the time is when someone tells me macros is confusing. It's because you're trying to look at all of it at once. Build up to looking at all of the numbers. Just start with a calorie goal and a protein goal. This is how I love to start people off. Um, and so, and again, Erin and I have formulas that we go into way more detail of what we look at before we give somebody a macro goal when we're coaching someone. But if we were to give you that long drawn out formula, you'd be like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to do this. Okay. So again, simplification is key. This is what I love to start people with, and this is what's on your form. Take your goal weight, whatever you want it to be, times it by 10. That's going to give you an estimate of what your calorie intake should be. And so if you want to be 150 pounds, your goal weight and your goal calorie should be around 1500. Is that perfect? No, but we don't live in a world that's perfect. God is the only thing that's perfect. And so stop trying to be perfect, right? Macros, I think, brings the perfectionism out in people. And so I like to hit it, punch it in the face before it gets there. So goal weight times it by 10, that's going to be your calories. Take that same goal weight times it by 0.8, that's going to give you your first grams goal of protein goal. Okay. So again, I always use 150 because it's easy on my brain to do math. Actually, I've already done the math. 150 equals 120 grams of protein. Okay. And I guarantee that for a lot of you, maybe not everybody, but that's a great threshold for you to start with. And then the next question I always get, well, what about carbs and fats, Angela? What about carbs and fats? Where's my number should be? You know, we can give you a number to shoot for, but here's how I love to coach you when you just get started. If you're going to hit 1500 calories, 120 grams of protein, let your carbs and fats fall into place. Just let them fall in place. There's going to be days one is higher than the other, and they're going to fluctuate. Why do I love to do that? Because all I want you to focus it is on two numbers to get you started. And then when you gain consistency with the calories and the protein, guess what? You're going to already start seeing results. You're going to already start to feel better. Promise. Promise. I just took 13 women through a program that's all they focused on for 12 freaking weeks. And they lost 154 pounds together collectively because this is all they did. And so then once you gain consistency with your protein, then you can add, okay, now I'm going to really try to hit my carbs and my fats in the same place every single day. And then all these other numbers, right? But if you're trying to do it all at once, you're going to stress yourself out, right? So this is on the thing if you guys don't have it already. And then there's sample meal plans, you guys. If your number is around 800, if your goal weight is around 180, then this would be the calorie count for you. And a 1600 calorie meal plan and a 1400 calorie meal plan. So I just wanted to hit on the simplicity piece of it. I know a lot of us have that all or nothing personality. I'm like, I'm going to go all in. I've never done this before, but I'm going to shoot and I'm going to look at every single number and I'm going to tell you you're going to last about a week or two. And and not want to do it anymore. So I don't know if you want to piggyback on that or anything you have to
Yeah,
say, Aaron.
no, I'll tell you guys, and here's the thing, and I see this time and time again, especially with clients when we give them this. A lot of people start, and they're under eating. I mean, most of the clients I start coaching, they're under eating. Immediately, the moment we start talking about their nutrition, they're under eating. So it's not like when you're looking at these numbers, don't freak out. 1,800, I barely get 1,000, right? You have to train your body to go higher because a lot of times when we think, oh man, if I eat more, right? Women's been programmed. I'm gonna say this, y'all, because I learned this from my mom. My mom learned this from her mom, and so women have been programmed for years. We're talking decades to eat less to keep your figure. How many of y'all ever heard that before, right? Raise your hand if you've ever heard that. Eat less to keep your figure. My mom used to say that all the time when I was younger growing up. I used to hear my grandmother used to say that all the time growing up, and I'm like, but the thing was that's so not true. And so we end up programming that now. Fast forward, we're talking 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years later, we're hearing the same thing. Like, I need to eat less to lose weight. And that's actually the opposite. When you eat less, you don't lose weight, you end up gaining weight over time because your body starts to store it. And that's one thing that you got to understand. So when you're seeing these numbers, don't let that freak you out. You're seeing 1,800, but you're barely getting in 1,200 calories a day. Work your way up to eating that, because the more you start to eat more, you're speeding up that metabolism that you have. Your metabolism is your fat burning cylinder, right? You're speeding that up, and as you speed that up, you're going to want to eat more. You're going to end up wanting to start eating more. And here's where that's going to kick in. When you start working out, you're going to get those muscles, and your muscles are going to be like, feed me, and you're going to want to eat more. And so what's going to end up happening, let's say you're starting at 1,200, but your goal is to lose, let's say 50, 60, 70 pounds weight loss, or maybe 20 or 30 pounds weight loss, or maybe even 10 pounds. You're starting at 1,200. You're going to build that muscle, which is going to make you want to eat more because you need to fuel that muscle as you're building it. And then you go from 1,200 to 14 to 16 to 1,800. Do not let those numbers scare you. I can't express that enough. I see it all the time. I can't eat that much, Aaron. I can't eat that much. Yes, you can, but it's going to take time, you guys. But start off looking at that plan and say, you know what, I can do this. Because I just saw somebody comment saying 1,800 is what I need to be at. But at the end of the day, some of you guys will be at 1,800. Some of y'all might even be higher than 1,800. Don't let that number scare you, because you have to look at food as fuel for your body. And when you do, anything and everything can happen and everything can change when you start looking at it from a different perspective. Don't freak out thinking eat less, lose more. Actually, eat more, lose more. Can't express that enough. Throw it in the comment section below, you guys. Eat more, lose more, because that's exactly what's going to happen. And you want to make sure you're eating more of the right things, right? But at the end of the day, we guys gave you a basic. One thing I want to touch on before, because I know we're getting close to an hour being on, and we're definitely going to hop off because we respect everybody's time. One thing I want to touch on, and this is huge. I got this question the other day. What kind of snacks? What kind of snacks should I consume? And I'm going to give you guys protein snacks. Is popcorn good for you, Down? I wouldn't. There's way better snacks than popcorn. It's just a wasted calorie snack, if it makes any sense. Like, there's really no nutritional value other than it tastes good. I love me some popcorn. Movie theater popcorn, my jammy jam, right? But it's nothing, it just fills you up with fats, and it's not anything that's going to be beneficial for you. So here's some snacks. I'm going to recommend you guys some snacks, and it's all high protein packable snacks. Why? Notice the theme here, right? We're really shifting towards that high protein, right? Protein shakes. You guys, we got an amazing protein shake, BFF. Drink it. Drink it twice a day. Don't think you only got to drink once a day. Second, jerky. If you guys like any kind of jerky, jerky's really good. It's high in protein. Greek yogurt. I just shared a recipe I created yesterday. Greek yogurt that had a protein powder in it, and some dark chocolate morsels, and literally a drizzle of honey. And yeah, it was so good. And I don't like the taste of just regular Greek yogurt. And I was like, man, I could do this. It tastes like pudding. It tastes like chocolate pudding. Tuna pouches, you guys. Nowadays they got flavored tuna pouches. Y'all take the flavored ones. I love the deli flavored one. It literally tastes like a sandwich. You can eat it right straight out, or you can put it on some crackers. You guys, there's so many things you can do with cottage cheese. You've been hearing about cottage cheese. Y'all, give it a try. I'm about to make a dinner tonight with cottage cheese, and I can't wait. I'm so freaking excited about this dinner I'm going to share with you guys that has cottage cheese in it, right? Chicken packets, hard-boiled eggs are a good snack, a protein snack. protein shakes, once again, protein bars. Deli meat is a really good, believe it or not, deli meat. If you get low sodium deli meat, that's actually a really good snack, a protein snack. The last one, which a lot of people don't even think about this one, Angela, I know you're big on this one, and I'm gonna shout out you for sharing this one a lot, is edamame, you guys. Edamame is a huge high protein portable snack. And these are just things you can eat throughout the day. And y'all, it's going to be a game changer for your body because it's going to help you increase that protein intake. And just some more recommendations for you guys to crush your goals. We really want to see you guys crush these goals over the next 21 days. So next thing, next thing I want to touch on real quick is drinking water. Drinking water, you guys. Wasabi nuts, more fats. Nuts, any kind of nuts, almonds, peanut butter. Yeah. All right. I got to touch on this real quick. How many of you guys think peanut butter is protein? Raise your hand if you think peanut butter is a protein source. Raise your hand because I love this one. I love this. I do. I love it. Uh-oh. I got this emoji. Connie, yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's not, y'all. Like, don't consume peanut butter as protein. It is not a protein source. Any kind of almonds, nuts, anything in regards to almonds, nuts, cashews, you name it, walnuts, they're all a fat source. They are not a protein source. Yes, there's protein in peanut butter, but it is higher macros in the fat
Oh,
content than it is the protein. It's literally 5 grams of protein, 16 grams of fats, which AKA means it's more fats than protein. So do not look at peanut butter. Some of y'all be taking a tablespoon of peanut butter and just eating it thinking you're taking protein. You know, you're actually not. You're consuming fats, and that's not going to help build muscle. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Another thing we want to touch on too is water. I know I just disappoint everybody. Log off. Everybody's just like, log it off. Dang it, coach, you know, mess my whole day up. I'm about to go eat some peanut butter and dry my sorrows away. The next thing I want to touch on real quick is water. Water. How many of you guys consume enough adequate water? Raise your hand if you're consuming over 85 ounces of water a day and not TikTok. Y'all are out of control. I do not TikTok water. Absolutely not. Please don't consume no TikTok water. I don't even know what that is, but don't do that. 85 ounces or more is such a perfect number. And here's the thing, too, you guys. Right now, we're getting ready to get into warmer temperatures. This is the perfect time to start increasing your water intake. Don't wait for summer because then your body starts to get dehydrated for summer and you're not even drinking enough. And I see it constantly. Right now, go 85 ounces of water. 85 ounces of water or more a day, you guys, will be a game changer for your body. And there's so many benefits behind it. Andrew, you want to touch on water and what it can do to help, especially when it comes to weight loss? Because I know people, how do we connect water with weight loss? There's reasons how you can
yeah,
connect.
water is huge. Water is a big piece of not just weight loss, but it's also so incredibly important for your body functions. And we go back to like if you're not going to the bathroom regularly, we talked about fiber. Water is another part of that. Water is going to help your digestive system flow the way it's supposed to. Water impacts your organs and how they function and so many other things. Water I always hear this and it sounds backwards, just like eating more is going to help me lose weight. Yeah, absolutely. I know it sounds incredibly backwards, but it is what works. Same thing with water. I know I've heard many times like, wait, if I'm drinking more water, I'm going to hold water weight. And like, no, you're not. You're actually going to flush it out. Your body needs water to get rid of weight. Okay. Better digestion. But the thing that I always love to point out too is your complexion is better when you hydrate. Your skin is better when you hydrate, but so is your energy and your focus. Dehydration is real. And so it's not just about weight loss, it's a huge piece of it, yes. But I know when someone comes to me and they're tired or different things going on in their body or their energy levels, like, well, what does your water intake look like? Because it plays a really big role in it as well, too. So, but we got to have our water. And the biggest thing, how I always say water, everybody's different. Not everybody needs a whole gallon of water a day, right? Like I know that's a big thing. All right. And again, if you're struggling with water, the first thing you need to do is awareness. And if you have no idea how much water you drink every single day, that's your first step. Your first step is for you to track it for a week and see how much you drink. And then, so for example, if you're only drinking, I don't know, 40 ounces of water a day, which is real. I have a lot of people that when I first talk to them, that's all they're drinking. I'm like, 40 ounces of water, girl. We got to get that water up. So here's your first goal. If you're averaging 40 ounces of water a day, don't go to 100. Don't or a gallon. Don't do that to yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure, so to speak, right? So take yourself from 40 ounces and give yourself a goal of 60 first. Gain consistency with 60 and then increase again and then increase everything in small baby steps. Not only is it going to help you get the results you want, it's going to build your confidence along the way, you guys, which we're going to get to a lot on Wednesday or next week, next Wednesday. Yeah. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on water. Um, in a nutshell.
I I saw a great question right now from Donna. What can you do for for fluid retention? Most likely, fluid retention is due to increased sodium intake. That's your number one culprit, Donna. And that's once again, it swings back to tracking. If you're consuming a lot of sodium, your body's going to retain water. And then you're going to have that bloating feeling, especially in your gut, from just sodium intake. And sodium plays a huge factor into you guys as well. Here's another rule of thumb: when you're looking at sodium, I would give you to 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day to look at. Like that's a good rule of thumb. Anything less, great. Anything higher than 3,000, most likely you're going to be retaining water. And this is huge, especially if your goals are for weight loss, because a lot of people have goals for weight loss on here, or to build muscle. Even you want to make sure that you're maintaining that sodium intake, and you're looking at it and you're monitoring it, because that can be a factor when you get on that scale and you get on a scale and it doesn't go down. Y'all, that's most likely water. And believe it or not, like a lot of times, how many of y'all have gotten a scale and you got discouraged and you hopped off the scale because you're like, I'm not losing weight. What is going on? Raise your hand if I'm talking to you, because I know that you're not alone. I can promise you, right? You're not alone if you've ever felt that way. Most likely that is due to water, and that's water retention. And then when I tell you not to drink your water, absolutely you do need to drink your water, but at the same time, you want to watch your sodium intake, because if your sodium intake's above 3,000 milligrams a day, their chances are it's because it's you're retaining that water, and you have that water retention, which is basically your weight's not is going to fluctuate. And other reasons why weight fluctuates, but mainly for the most part, I will always say that sodium intake is the number one culprit when it comes to weight fluctuation. Outside of any hormonal issues and things like that, it's usually sodium intake. And so you definitely want to watch that and monitor it. So if you consume any processed foods or any prepackaged meals and things like that, they're super high in sodium, you guys. That's why they're on the shelf for years, or some of these frozen meals on the shelf for months, right? I dare you guys to leave some meat on the counter and some vegetables out for about a week or two. Watch what happens, right? Like it's gonna just like break down, like ooh, it stinks, it's rotten, right? There's a reason why they last as long as they do, because they're processed and they're stacked with sodium, super high in sodium. So just wanted to share that. I know we're getting close to the hour mark. Andrew, do you want to jump into some Q&A?
Yeah, we can do some Q&A or some meal prep tips. Totally whichever we think is the best. If there's any other questions, you guys can drop them. Or if you want meal prep tips, why don't you put meal prep in the comments? Let's do that.
Yes.
Either drop a question or put meal prep tips. We can be quick on either. And I am recording, so we will drop a link after this. We'll put it in the chats, we'll put it in the groups, we'll put it all over the place. Um,
Yes.
so if there's anything you want to go back to, or if, obviously there's a lot of people that didn't get to hop on.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And here's another thing too. Oh, what protein bars are the best? That's a great question. Me personally, I love Bear Bell. Bear Bell is one of my favorite protein bars. Taste wise, macro wise, is really good, low in sugar. Bear Bell is one of my favorites. I always recommend Bear Bell for clients. I consume Bear Bell pretty consistent, probably once or twice a week. Angela, what's one of yours would you recommend outside of Bear
Quest is one of my favorites as well. I like
Bell?
Quest. Or both of those to me are really good ones.
That's a great question. I don't know. Hungry Root. I
I
never
was
heard of it.
pulling it up. Yeah.
Did you Google
So
that?
yeah, I was pulling it up because I'm not familiar with that one as much as I am some of the others. But the key to these types of things are there's a lot of these like Hungry Root and what's that other one? Fresh, Hello Fresh, I think.
Yes.
Um, I've done a couple of those myself personally, just trying to get some new ideas for recipes. The thing that I noticed a lot of them is a lot of them are really high in fat and
So do.
yeah, and sodium, but also just oh my gosh, where's my brain? And just generalized carbs. Like I would say check the macronutrient facts, the nutrition facts on a lot of them before you order stuff like that. Do I think it's great? 100%. It's freaking nice and convenient. Now, the ones that I've done like comes with all the actual fresh ingredients, and I'm assuming that's what Hungry Root is, correct?
Mhm.
Hungry Root isn't like the pre-made meals like Factor meals and stuff like that. Those are good too. I think they're great. Um, I think all of those are great for convenience. Sometimes it's much better than a drive-through. It's much better than so many options. And then again, this goes back to like it's not good or bad. It's like here's a good choice, this is a better choice, and this is the best choice. The best choice is always going to be us cooking whole foods at home because we know what's going in them. Is that convenient for everybody? Absolutely not. And so I think Hungry Root plays a really good role in the little things like that. And when they're fresh ingredients or they're coming to you, I know whenever I was doing some of them for a little while, there was just some ingredients that like I didn't want to put in them because it would took the fat content so incredibly high that I just left some of the ingredients out. So um if you get lime chicken, you will get limes, for instance. Yeah. Yeah. If you edit the recipes, plug them in. I know a lot of those types of like those types of things you can actually just go into MyFitnessPal and search the brand, and a lot of them have the nutrition facts in there. And so I've got some women, they use these kind of things because it's easy, it's convenient. Just plug it in, see if it meets your macros, and you're going to do great. I know this, it makes things a lot easier a lot of times, so it makes it convenient. To me, the Hunger Root is a much better convenient way to do it than a lot of other ways out there, like the Stouffer meal, the heat meat, the processed meals that Aaron was talking about. Those are all loaded in toxic ingredients and a skyrocket. Um, the sodium, like he was talking about. So I love that. Don't speak back, row. Yeah, a lot of those things, a lot of things nowadays are becoming smarter, and they're actually putting the macros, the nutrition facts, and all that stuff in it. So when in doubt, you can definitely look it up. Do you recommend making your own chicken versus the chicken you buy that's frozen? It depends. Is the frozen chicken already seasoned? Is it already cooked? All you have to do is heat it. Um, frozen like frozen chicken, if it's raw and it hasn't been touched, it's just raw and there's no seasoning already pre-made put on it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that versus just fresh chicken. As long as you're cooking it, you know what's going on it and in it. Then either way is fine. If it's already cooked and all you have to do is heat it and eat it, 100%, you make your own chicken is a better choice. And get tool and use tools. One of the things that I always love to teach on too, and I know we're going a little bit over the hour, but when it comes to cooking and meal prepping, use tools to make your life easier. Tools, what I mean by that is a crock pot. Okay, crock pots are great. I have a quick cooker, which is basically an Instapot. Quick cooker is just Pampered Chef version. So there's a lot more options. So I love making chicken in my quick cooker or an air fryer, little things like that. Use tools to make your life easier so you're not spending hours in the kitchen or meal prep. The one of the biggest things that I always say is, meal prepping just a bunch of protein. On the weekends, make a bunch of chicken or hamburger patties or whatever it is that you want to eat for the week and pre-cook just a bunch of protein. You don't have to pre-cook and lay out your Pinterest worthy meals. Like my food is not Pinterest worthy. It's simple, it's boring, but it works.
So what you're trying to say is I'm a Pinterest queen. I get it. All right, fine, fine. I'm the
Your
Pinterest
meals
queen
are a
then.
lot more Pinterest worthy than mine, but it works. It tastes good. Yeah, I'm gonna steal your recipe actually that you posted today. That I cooked.
you
Really
know,
good.
what's crazy is like I've been getting asked a lot lately because I've been in the kitchen cooking. I'm gonna give you guys a tip on meal prepping. For me, this is how I personally meal prep, and I do meal prep, and I love meal prep, and I recommend it 100%. If you can't meal prep on Sundays, and there's options, y'all. You got Sunday, you can prep your meal like Angela shared, and here's another option. You can literally make more on your dinner, make a bigger dinner, and some of these meals. Last night I made a high protein chicken enchilada baked meal, and it was 5 servings. Now I have lunch and dinner. Me and my wife had lunch and dinner for the following day. Y'all, like that's crazy. But things like that, you could make a bigger meal at dinner, and there goes your lunch the following day, and there goes your spouse's lunch the following day if you're cooking for a family. There goes that. So you could make a bigger meal, and that's another way of meal prepping. That's another option to meal prep. A lot of times people are like, I just don't know how to meal prep. Make a bigger dinner. Make a bigger dinner. Like look at a recipe or something simple to make. Like Audrey just said, the chicken slaw bake is phenomenal. I'm gonna share this in the bigger group, you guys. I apologize for not sharing that yesterday, but it's just making a bigger meal. There's an opportunity to meal prep the following day. Take it as your lunch, and you know you're controlling your food. You're controlling what you eat for lunch, and therefore you're avoiding, like Angela just said, the drive-throughs. When you avoid those drive-throughs, it's a game changer. And I know that sometimes it might be an easier option for factor meals or these other companies, but I will tell you personally, from just trying every single one of these companies, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, meal prepping is always going to be the best option because you control what you put in it. As far as seasoned chickens and meats, just look at the ingredients. If you're reading the ingredients, you can't pronounce what's in those seasoned meats. High probability it's probably stuff that's not going to be beneficial for your body, as opposed to being seasoning your own meat. You know what you're putting in your meat. So that's another thing too. Be careful with those as well, because I did bought one the other day and it was super high in sodium. I didn't realize it. I'm thinking it's just seasoned with some fajita seasoning. Nope, it had a whole bunch of just stuff. I was like, oh well, lesson learned. But that's a part of the journey, you guys. Huge part of the journey. So one thing I want to share before we do hop off, if y'all have any additional questions, don't hesitate to send myself or Angela a message. We're here to help you guys. Definitely connect with us on Facebook. If we're not friends on Facebook, connect with us. You'll see us. We constantly share this kind of content on our social media platforms, just to raise awareness, as well as also to be able to give value for you guys. Just don't feel like, oh man, these coaches are just doing this challenge. No, y'all, we just want to help everyone. We're one team, one dream. We're super excited to help and impact every single person's life on here. So excited for next week's workshop, mindset. Yeah, like if you're excited for mindset, drop a mindset in the comment section below, because that is our jammy jam. I love mindset. It's a game. It's a huge component when it comes to these kind of challenges, and when it comes to your health and your fitness. Mindset is huge, and some of y'all gonna be like, I needed that more than I realized. And I promise you, it's a game changer. It will blow your mind how powerful mindset is when it comes to health and wellness on your journey in your health. So Andrew, you got any closing thoughts?
Just keep it simple. I mean, yeah, biggest thing is keep it simple, ask questions. You can even post them in the group. But like he said, we're here to help. And yeah, stay connected, give yourself the full 21 days. You start getting frustrated if the results don't happen fast enough, like don't quit. Just give it the 21 days, stay connected, and mark on your calendars for next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, whatever time zone you're in. The next two Wednesdays actually are both the same time, 11 Central. So yeah, I hope to see you on the next one. And I think that's all we got. I'll drop the link for the replay as soon as it's processed after this. And I'll have an amazing day. Thank you, Coach Aaron, for rocking this out with me. Y'all all have a
Appreciate
good
you guys. God bless y'all. See you on the next one.